He doesn't look like anything. That's the first thing people notice about Aaron, and the last thing they bother to remember. No aura, no rank badge glowing at his collar. When the Academy's intake system scanned him at enrollment 3 years ago, it spat out one word, unclassified. Not F rank, not even the trash tier that at least had a number attached to it. Just a blank of nothing. A student-shaped hole in the rankings that the professors learned to skip over when calling attendance. His party left him 6 months in. 3 hunters, Lark, Vale, and the girl with the silver gauntlets, whose name he never bothered to learn after she threw her badge at his feet, packed up in the common room and told him flatly that dead weight slowed everyone down. Lark said it kindly, which was worse. Vale said it like a fact. The girl with the gauntlets said nothing. She just left the door open behind her. That was fine. Aaron sat in the empty room for about 4 minutes, then walked to the dungeon gate. He's been walking to the dungeon gate every day since. Nobody watches him go. That's the other thing. The dungeon beneath Thornwall Academy is a sealed Tier 3 loop, the kind of pocket dimension dungeon that resets every 72 hours. Academic use only. Students train in it, rack up experience, log their stat growth for credit. The professors monitor the exits. They don't monitor the inside because everyone who goes in comes out. The dungeon resets. Simple. What nobody knew, what nobody thought to look for, is that Arn never came out on day 1. On the first run 3 years ago, he walked into a corridor on sub-level 4, sat down, and waited for the dungeon to reset around him. The dungeon reset. He was still there. Not a glitch, not an exploit. Something in his unclassified status, the blank where a rank should have been, caught on the dungeon's reset function. Like a burr on fabric, the dimension collapsed and rebuilt itself over and over 72 hours at a time, and Arn reset with it. Sitting in the same corridor, in the same dungeon, alone. 3 years of outside time. 14 cycles per year. The math isn't complicated. Arn has lived through approximately 42 resets. The dungeon is a Tier 3 loop. Standard multiplier for combat inside a sealed loop environment is 2.1 times per cycle. A known mechanic published in the Academy's first-year handbook. Nobody takes it seriously because the standard loop cycle is 3 days, and students exit before the multiplier compounds. Arn didn't exit. 42 cycles. 2.1 times per cycle, compounding. The number the system produces when it tries to calculate his current body stat is not a number. It is a sequence of digits that takes up the full screen width and continues off the right edge of the display. The system stopped trying to assign a rank category approximately 30 cycles in. On the morning the Academy holds its third-year rank assessment, the one that determines whether a student advances to the elite track, gets reassigned to support track, or is quietly recommended for early withdrawal. Arn walks out of the dungeon gate at 6 a.m. He blinks in the courtyard light, brushes a piece of stone dust from his sleeve, joins the back of the intake line. His former party sees him across the courtyard. Lark looks surprised. Vale looks contemptuous. The girl with the silver gauntlets, her name is Sarah. He reads it off her new ranking badge. Rank 7, silver trimmed. Doesn't look at him at all, which is the same as contempt. The Academy's top-ranked student, a third-year named Davin Holt, rank 1, gold badge. Every achievement trophy on the common room wall bearing his signature is standing with his group 20 meters away. He spots the blank space at Arn's collar, says something to his friends, and they laugh. Standard, expected. Arn yawns and moves one step forward in the line. The rank assessment uses the Academy's Master Status Terminal, a permanent, server-grade system panel mounted in the assessment hall, not the portable scanners the professors use in class. When each student steps onto the assessment plate, the terminal reads their full accumulated stats, assigns a rank, and broadcasts the result to the hall's overhead display. 3 seconds per student. The whole Academy watches. The line moves fast. Lark steps up. Rank 22, upgraded from 31. Pleased. Vale, rank 11, satisfied. Sarah, rank 7, confirmed. She doesn't celebrate. She's done celebrating Arn's absence. Davin Holt steps up last among the elites. The hall goes quiet. He's been rank 1 for 2 consecutive years. The terminal glows. 3 seconds. The display reads, rank 1 advanced track strength coefficient, 9,740. The hall erupts. Davin raises one hand, accepting it, and his eyes slide to the back of the room where Arn is still waiting. Your turn, he says, not unkindly. Davin is the sort of person who is cruel in the way a mountain is. Without effort, purely by existing at a height everyone else can see. Arn steps onto the plate. The terminal scans. 1 second. 2. The system doesn't produce a result on second 3. On second 4, the terminal emits a sound that nobody in the hall has heard before. A low ascending tone, the kind that means the hardware is working harder than it was designed to. The overhead display flickers, blanks out, reboots. On second 6, the display comes back. It doesn't show a rank, it shows a message. System. Measurement incomplete. Body coefficient exceeds tier-bound parameters. External calibration required. Nobody speaks. Arn looks up at the display, reads it, nods, as though this is information he already had, which it is. Davenholt's gold badge is very bright in the hall light. Arn notices this the way he notices most things now, completely without having to try. His senses, after 42 cycles of nothing but stone walls and the sound of the dungeon resetting around him, have long since stopped requiring effort. The 740 strength coefficient on the display above Davon's result is a number Arn walked past sometime around cycle 19. What? A professor starts. The terminal updates. A second message appears below the first. Note. Last recorded measurable coefficient logged at cycle 31. Value at that time. 1,240,000. Growth since last log. Uncalculated cycle 31 was 8 months ago. The hall doesn't erupt. It goes the other direction, completely, absolutely silent, and stays there. Lark is the first to make a sound. It comes out as a number, 1,200, and then it doesn't go anywhere. Vale's expression does something complicated and then settles on nothing, which is the closest thing to fear Arn has ever seen from him. Sarah is very still. Davenholt is looking at the display, at the 9,740 that was the highest number in the room 5 minutes ago. He looks at it for a long time. When he looks away from it and at Arn, his face has been rearranged into something Arn doesn't fully recognize on Daven, because the one thing Davenholt has never had to wear before today is the expression of someone who understands absolutely and without any path out of understanding that he is not in the same category as the person standing in front of him. It isn't the same as kneeling, it's quieter than that. The body just goes still. One of Daven's friends says, very quietly, "What rank is that even?" Nobody answers. The terminal answers after a long moment with a third line. Designation unclassified, above system ceiling. Arn reads it. The room is still silent. He steps off the assessment plate, walks back to his spot, and waits for the assessment to be formally concluded. Nobody laughs about the blank collar space anymore. The academy director pulls him into an office that afternoon. 2 professors from the advanced track. A liaison from the Hunter Association's regional branch, who got the alert from the terminal's automatic report function and arrived within 3 hours, because that is what you do when the system reports an above-sailing reading. They ask him questions. Arn answers them plainly. The dungeon loop, the reset mechanic, the 2.1 times multiplier, 42 cycles. He shows them his forearm where he kept count. Tally marks in faint ink, 42 of them, meticulous. The liaison looks at the tally marks for a long time. "You've been in there," she says, "for 3 subjective years." "About 35, Arn says. Inside time runs at a different compression rate. She writes something down. The director wants to know what he wants. The question carrying the particular quality of someone trying to maintain dignity while speaking to a ceiling they can no longer see. Compensation, recognition, resources. The advanced track, a new party. Arn thinks about it. A room with a window, he says. The dormitory block puts me on the interior wall. There is a pause. That's all? I'd also like my original party's records updated. They made a reasonable decision with the information they had. Another pause. The girl, Sarah, told me the door was broken, he adds. The hinge. It's still broken. Someone should fix it. He's not particularly interested in their regret. He watched the way Davan's face went still and that was enough. Not satisfying the way revenge is supposed to be satisfying, but complete. The dungeon loop is thorough about teaching patience. 35 years of patience. You stop needing people to grovel. You just need them to understand once, completely, that the number they assigned you was never the number you were. Unclassified above system ceiling. That was always the number. They just couldn't read it until today. Outside the director's office, the hallway is empty. Assessment day ends early. The evening light comes in low through the corridor windows, and Arn stands in it for a moment, not because anything is particularly beautiful about it, but because for 3 years of inside time, the dungeon had no windows, and he has learned not to waste the ones he finds. Somewhere behind him in the assessment hall, Davenholt is still sitting in front of the display. The number 9,740 is still there. Below it, the system ceiling it didn't reach. Arn walks toward the dormitory. He has a window to request. The door hinge in the south block has been broken for 6 months and somebody should fix it. Everything else can wait. It already has.